Hey everybody, it's Brian coming at you from house arrest, and this week on house arrest I am going to be doing my mindfulness meditation retreat that I was talking about last week. Today is Saturday, December 30th, and I am on my first day off from work. I have 10 days off, including today. And so for the next 9 days and for the rest of today, after I finish making this video, I'm going to be doing this silent mindfulness retreat at my house arrest mindfulness retreat. So in order to prepare for this retreat, I got in touch with my dear friend Eleni. So she's currently in training, in this very long training thing to become a meditation teacher, and so she's rolling around with all the big shot meditation people who have been like celebrities to me my whole life. So that's pretty cool, and she's got all of the insider tips and tricks and instructions and things. So I hit her up so I could get some, just advice on how to run this thing. And she sent over a schedule which looks like this. If you want to look through this more thoroughly, you can just pause the video, I guess. But I'm going to be modifying it to fit my specific circumstance, because obviously some of the stuff on here isn't the same as what I'm going to be doing by myself. So like, for instance, I've moved the eating times around a little bit. I have replaced the mindful movement with a little bit longer period so that I can do exercise or this yoga, Sivananda yoga that I like to do, so I can fit that in there. Also, just a couple other tweaks and changes here and there, but mostly, as you can see here, there is periods of sitting and walking. And the sitting is just what it says. It's sitting and practicing mindfulness meditation. And then the walking is just walking in my backyard here. As you can see, I've cleared out a little space here, moved all the dog poop and cleared out the weeds so that I can just walk back and forth. And that's kind of what you do at a real retreat too. You just take when you're doing the walking meditation, you just take a pretty small space, so you're not really going anywhere, and you just kind of take 10 or 20 paces in one direction and 10 or 20 paces in the other direction. You just go back and forth. I will also be where it says guided meditation on here or instructions. I've included a couple of those, and I have an app that I use called Dharma Seed, which has all of this mindfulness teaching that's recorded from all kinds of retreats all over the United States and in other parts of the world as well, and upload it to this app. And you can listen to all the Dharma talks and all the instructions and everything that are happening at all these different retreats, which is really an amazing resource. So I'll be using the Dharma Seed app to do both the guided meditations, and at the end of each night here, as you can see, the Dharma talk, I'll be using that app to listen to a Dharma talk as well. A Dharma talk is basically a hour-long discourse that a Dharma teacher who is traditionally leading a retreat does at the end of every night on a certain topic regarding mindfulness meditation or whatever the theme of the retreat is. And it's not done as like a formal lecture or anything like that. It's kind of a organic, from the heart, almost sermon, you could call it, in the context of the kind of Buddhist mindfulness traditional practice. And I'm really looking forward to those. They're always a real treat. They can be really powerful and really, poignant. One thing I feel compelled to point out is just that while these talks and this whole practice is kind of framed within the context of a Buddhist tradition, I am not a Buddhist, and the the talks and the instructions and everything are very secular. They're not religious Buddhism. It's more just kind of philosophy rooted in sort of Buddhist tradition. But you could drop all the Buddhist stuff and it still completely applies to just any reasonable person who wants to just think about the concepts that they talk about in here. So there's nothing really religious about it, and I'm not religious in this sense at all, or in any sense really. But I just felt like I wanted to point that out for those who have never been introduced to any of this stuff and are, you know, maybe coming from their own religious background and leery of what this all might mean. That's not what's going on here. You know, this is a very secular practice as far as I'm concerned. One final thing that I will mention in case anybody is interested in more of the specifics is the type of retreat I've decided to do. Under the umbrella of practicing mindfulness or doing retreat, there's different types of focuses you can have within the practice itself. For example, Vipassana is one where you just try to limit your focus to one aspect of your conscious experience. Traditionally, that's the breath. This is a really common practice where you just focus on the in-breath and the out-breath, and you try to follow the breath completely, and whenever you get lost in thought, you just bring it back to the breath. And this work ultimately fosters concentration, really hones your concentration skills, which becomes the foundation for deep insight. So that is an example of one way to practice. The way that I've decided to practice for this whole retreat is what's called metta, and metta translates to loving kindness, because what could be better suited to a hardcore social deviant criminal such as myself than to attempt to tackle the loving kindness mindfulness practice in the context of a 9-day long intensive retreat. I've chosen to do this particular practice because it's meant to bring to the surface our innate concern and compassion for others and ultimately everyone, including oneself. How it works is within your meditation practice, you employ these phrases that you repeat and you meditate on. And you can pick your own phrases, but the generic ones are like, may you be happy, may you be free, may you be, you know, free from suffering, may you be well, may you be contented, etc. You just pick a few that work for you. And then in the beginning part of the retreat, like the first couple days for me, you repeat these for yourself. And the idea is just to be kind of stoking the embers of this feeling of acceptance and love and self, you know, compassion. Then after the first couple days, you move on to a benefactor, you know, somebody that is maybe supportive of you in your life, and you stoke well wishes for them, and then you move on to like a friend, and then you move on to a neutral person eventually. This is like after, you know, a couple days of each. Somebody who maybe is a stranger or just an acquaintance that you have no feelings, no inherent feelings, you know, for or against. And then you cultivate that feeling for that person, and then finally you move on to a difficult person in your life, somebody who's caused you pain or suffering, or you just find that you just, you know, are never quite having positive interactions with on whatever level that is for you. And then you cultivate all of that, you know, feeling that you've kind of, that fire that you've stoked up, then you sort of apply it, wishing this person well, and all of the ways that you wished yourself and your friends and your, you know, acquaintances well, you end up wishing them well as well. So it can be a pretty powerful practice, and I'm pretty interested in doing that for myself right now because there's some stuff I kind of want to release. Over the last couple of years, I've had some real hard and strange interactions with really strange, you know, people who had strange levels of control over me and still do, you know, in the context of this prison situation. And then just like other, you know, people that I'm around all the time, and you can kind of start to, you know, like rub the wrong way with them or whatever it is, and just have you know, strange circumstances or difficult circumstances. And I hate, you know, getting in the trap of you know, harboring resentment and letting that stuff, you know, kind of crust up and get worse and worse. It's like, and then you start to, you know, participate in gossip and blah, 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 blah. And I just hate all that stuff. And I just want to clean out and see if I can just flush my system of this stuff. So that's what I'm going to do. And that's all I have to talk about. And shout out to Eleni for helping out with the information. She's provided me with a lot more kind of steps and specifics on this that have really been helpful and are going to be helpful, and I'm grateful to her for that. The song of the week this week is a song called Killer on the Loose by Brittany Kirkpatrick. Also goes by No Makeup on YouTube, which I will link a video down in the description. That's the only place that you can find this song because it's the only place it's ever been posted. Yes, it is my sister, and yes, she wrote it, and yes, it's the best song that I feel like she's ever written. I think it's a great song, and I've heard she has a lot of music, and I just think that everybody should check it out because I think it's truly a special one. All right, next time I see you, I'll be making a video in about a week from now after having done a week of this practice, so we'll see how it goes and see what ends up happening. All right, this is it. Phone off, signing out. No more screens. Bye-bye. See you next week.